Afternoon, Russell.
Afternoon.
We'll start with the reaction. Now the dust has settled off the back of that disappointing result against Ipswich. So many positives in the game, but ultimately 3 turned into 1. Mm-hmm. Have you had to lift the players this week? Have you seen the right reaction in training? Have you had to do anything just to remind them of the good things they did during the game?
Yeah, I think the process is always the same regardless of result. But we had a good week. We won in the Cup, and then we picked up our first point, albeit frustrating that we didn't win the game. So there was so much good stuff. We created a lot of chances. We should have scored a couple more goals, and we didn't. And then we didn't manage the big moment well enough at the end. So I think it's all part of learning for a very young team, very young squad. I think we'll be better for it. And we will use the frustration that we felt on Saturday and the anger and the hurt and not getting 3 points. We'll use it in a good way. I really believe that. I think the players are fantastic at doing that, and they have big trust in the way we work and in each other. And I think we're in a better place last week than we were before the start of the week. So I think we're trying to get better all the time and be better at being the team we want to be. And Saturday was a step towards that. We have a point. Albeit frustrating, we didn't have 3, but now we need to build on that.
How much of your work this season will be about psychology, about making sure the players are in the right space and they're right behind the ideas and what you're trying to do? Obviously, you had so much success to get into the Premier League with what you did. How much do you have to keep them buzzing around in the right manner and the mentality?
I think the same as being at any level. Like the psychology, it's a psychological game. It's the most important bit. And like, it's not getting trapped in this false loop of positivity all the time and, it's going to be okay. Show the good stuff, but also really understand why we didn't quite get over the line, why we haven't had the results we maybe feel we should have, or why we haven't had the points on the board that maybe the data suggests we should have. So that's about feeling, and that's about understanding each other and understanding what we want and what's required all the time. And the team is built on a couple of things that are so important, and we have to bring them all the time, and the players know that. So it's never just about tactics, it's never just about session design, all that. It's about feeling and getting the right balance between being demanding and showing them a lot of love. And I feel it's something we do very well on the whole, and they know they're trusted, they know we care about them, but also we have to win. It's a game, it's an industry where we have to win. So I think I'm learning more and more all the time about the group. We're learning more and more about what's required, especially at this level. And I think that's the biggest difference is some people have a preconception of the level because of what they've been through before, or just the scrutiny of it and the intensity of it. But I hope in the 5 games we've had, they have enough feeling, and I believe it, that to feel fear of the Premier League is natural, to feel fear of certain players, teams is completely natural, but you have to embrace it and really seize the opportunity we have. And I feel more and more they are doing that, and the results will follow. I have to trust that because in 5 years it's always followed, and a good process and a good feeling of being honest with each other and embracing that fear and then getting through it with hard work and clarity. And I trust that'll be the same again.
Let's look ahead to the weekend, Monday Night Football as it is. What's the team news? Have you got any concerns or doubts off the back of the last week or so?
No, I don't think so. No. So I think we also have no one coming back that we didn't expect. So Ross is obviously back in now and he come on the pitch. So Cameldean's still a little bit away from being on the training pitch with us. So no, I think the team news is very, very much the same. We've just got to pick the right team to win a game.
And Will Smallbone, is he?
Yes, he's still out, so the team news is still the same. He'll be another week or 2, maybe even the other side of the international break. We'll do our very best for the Arsenal game, but for this one he'll be out.
And just a quick word, you mentioned young players and learning, and obviously one of the young players that has hit the headlines over the last week, Tyler. How do you manage that situation? Because clearly there's a young, talented player there that needs to be right off the pitch to get the best on the pitch. Mm-hmm. He has that moment, scores that tremendous goal. Is there that temptation? You want to play him week in, week out, but do you also have to protect him as well from being in the spotlight that he now is because of that performance?
Well, I think Tyler was unfortunate not to play earlier because he had an amazing pre-season. So he has an incredible belief in himself in a really nice and humble and modest way. But he has to just keep living at 100% and understand where that is and understand what's got him this far. And I think he has a brilliant support network with his family. He has a lot of trust from us, and he has that back. And it's not always plain sailing with young players, so to make him understand that, and to make him understand what's really important for him and for us. And we're fortunate. He at this minute in time, he couldn't play for every team. He suits the way we play a lot, and he's getting so much better at the stuff he needs to improve on. But he needs to continue to grow and develop and stay so hungry. And I think that's always a challenge with young players when they have a quick rise, is to keep them hungry and to keep them humble and to keep them wanting to learn and improve and develop. But with Tyler, I don't see that being a problem. He's such a calm and confident boy in the nicest way. So as long as he maintains his sense of self and his character and his personality, and that's up to us to help him do that, along with his family, then I've got no worries about him. And with regard to him playing, if he's playing well and in form, he'll be treated exactly the same as Adam Lallana at 36 years old. So I don't think age comes into it. I think it's part of the reason we were brought to this football club is our record of developing young talent and young players and turning them into established players at whatever level we've been at, and then making them valuable assets for a club as well. So I think we've known the plan with Tyler. Last year was very difficult for him to play because we had a lot of talented players in his position, and we're trying to get promoted from the Championship. And he's come back a different beast. And this year, how much he's grown and learned. If he continues to grow like that and develop, then his ceiling is so high. But we need to make sure that the expectation stays realistic as well, because we have a brilliant habit in this country of bigging young players up and then, waiting for them to be shot down a little bit.
And just finally for me, looking ahead to the Monday night football up against Bournemouth down the coast, a side that like to press high. They have this very unique style of football with the way they approach games and what Andoni has put into that group. They've had more shots than most teams in the Premier League, bar Manchester City and Spurs, so it gives you an idea as to what they like to try and do. How do you counteract that? How do you prepare a side for a team that can sometimes be chaotic but in their own style?
Yeah, I think it's a real contrast of beliefs on the game, or whatever you want to call it, game model, all that stuff. But they're incredible at what they did. So he's done a brilliant job, a really, really brilliant job. But it took him some time. In the same way, it's taken us a bit of time to adapt and adjust. So they had a bumpy start under him, Andoni, and then they've been brilliant ever since. And they've not looked back, and they've just kept building on it, and they have real clarity, which gives them so much strength, and they've recruited really well. So we have to go there and try and bring the game that we want to bring, and not them, because it is two very different styles and two very different teams, and what they'll be looking for from the game is probably very different to what we'll be looking for from the game. So we have to adapt and we have to adjust and be ready for what's to come. But I think it's going to be a really interesting game, and I think we need to try and control as much of it as we possibly can, which is not easy against Bournemouth, not easy at all. So I'm looking forward to it.
And just finally, sorry, you talk about last season's Bournemouth side, 9 games they didn't win. It was on the 10th match in the Premier League that they got their first win. Is that maybe a similar situation here? There just needs to be an evolution, and there needs to be a patience, and actually if you let the players get to where you want them to be, they'll be able to still have a really successful campaign, which Bournemouth ultimately did last year with 48 points, their best in the Premier League.
Yeah, so they had their most successful season after not winning for 9 games, whatever it was. I hope we don't have to wait that long, but I'm pretty sure during that period their coaching staff and their manager would have felt that they were on the right path in the same that we do, and they would have adapted and evolved, and they've adapted again this season and really become even more the team he probably wants them to be when we're watching them. So we're adapting, we're learning, we're trying to be flexible and adjust, but whilst maintaining what we want to be in the same way that they did last season. And we've looked at that as a coaching staff and a team behind the team in terms of that and what made it tick for them, and it was a win. It just catapulted them after that. It just gave everyone a bit more confidence, a bit more belief. But they were so close before that in the way that we probably feel right now, and now we have to convert that into results. So incredible job they've done there. They're so difficult to play against, and like I said, we are preparing for that in the best way we possibly can.
Brilliant. Thanks, Russell.
Chris? Russell, it comes up every time, so I might as well be the one to mention it. The local neighbourhood, I guess, down the road. Actually, where we sit here at Staplewood, Vitality Stadium is closer than Fratton Park is. Southampton sort of historical rivals. What have you learned about the Bournemouth-Southampton neighbourhood rivalry, derby, whatever part of it you want to call it?
Not very much, apart from I got lost in New Forest about a week ago on a run with Reece, the fitness coach, and we bumped into a Saints fan and a Bournemouth fan, and they had a little bit of a laugh and joke with us. But no, I think it's a local game. The fans will be desperate for us to go down there and put in a performance, but not just because of the locality of the team we're playing against, because we want to win and we need to win. So I haven't been given any extra motivation by anyone here. So I haven't placed any extra onus on the game because of that, and we'll go there and treat it in the same way we would any other game.
You've got a good record there, 4 clean sheets in a row there, won the last 3 as well. Do historical stats, even though you weren't here at the time, mean anything to you?
Not one bit, no.
Another interesting stat is that the home team's only won 1 of the last 11 of this fixture as well. Are these derby games, can sometimes the expectation on the home team prove a bit of a burden?
Honestly, don't know. I think it's on Monday Night Football. It will be a really interesting game because of the way the two teams would approach it. I don't think anything else plays previous games, previous results. We haven't played against each other under myself or under Andoni, so I don't see how any of it really matters. I think it's a completely different game, and as I said, it's one I'm really excited about.
Back to Tyler briefly. His goal last weekend was one of 5 in the Premier League that came from high turnovers last weekend, or defensive mistakes from teams trying to play out. Opta have put some stats out today that says more mistakes than ever are being made in a team playing out from the back leading to goals. What are your observations on that, I guess, and why that might be across the league?
Yeah, maybe the pressing's really, really good. We press really high as well.
That's why you got that goal last week. But is that a change in mentality of teams, that because more teams are trying to do it, you've got to focus more on your press?
So I think there's risk and reward wherever you play. So Bournemouth press extremely high, and if you get it right against them, they can leave big space. But their manager decides that the risk of that, the reward of that far outweighs the risk, in the same way we decide that playing out and trying to attract opponents close to our goal to then play through them or over them or around them is far outweighs the risk. The reward far outweighs the risk, which has proved so far in our managerial journey. There's been too many mistakes early on in the season, for sure, for us. Other teams I can't comment on. I don't do their work every day. I don't see the work they do, and I only see the games. So I think a lot of it is down to athletic prowess and the press and how athletic people are, how powerful they are, how much they believe in it, how much work they do on it. But also I think by the end of the season it probably balances out a little bit, and also people will find stats that will justify or validate whatever they want to really at some point.
Thanks, Russell.
Adam?
Just a couple of things, Russell. For someone who wasn't at the game on Saturday, I loved the team sheet when I saw it. 330 somethings, Charlie, Ryan, Adam, part of the players brought in. When you look back at what happened on Saturday, how much did their experience and their, say, decision making that comes with that experience help the side?
I helped a lot. I think when Adam Lallana goes off, it was a very different game for us. And we man, so they went off at the same time. So they weren't ready to play more than 60 minutes. So then the decision is obviously, to add them on to help us get in front and to control the game as much as possible from the beginning. But then you miss their know-how and experience, especially late on in the game like that when you're trying to hang on to a lead. So I think we have a nice balance. Jack would be the other one, obviously, but he's suspended at the moment. But we have a really nice balance of experience and youth. And the only way the young players are going to learn is through moments like that, and especially through moments of pain. So it will be good for them in the long term. It's not good for us right now, but it will be really good for them. And also, just being around them guys every day, the young ones, how much they learn from them, how much they get from them, because they're 3 top professionals, and the way they train, the way they attack everything is incredible. So really blessed actually that our experienced players are really good examples and good cultural architects for the rest of the group.
Everyone's speaking about Tyler, but I spoke to Adam in Spain about Tyler, and he was saying how good he is, really, really good. Yeah. And I got the feeling he was keen to help him and mentor him. And so how much does that help you to have someone like Adam? And how much does it help him on the pitch to have Adam dictating him a bit and telling him?
Yeah, well, I think it was part of the reason of bringing Adam in. It was a big part of that, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, and having someone who's aligned in terms of his vision of the game and his values as a person, being really demanding with the young guys on the training pitch, but also making sure they understand it's because he cares about them and he wants them to be the best version of themselves they can possibly be. So he's been fantastic on that front. So the guys get it from all fronts, from us, from a group of coaching staff, and now Adam as well. So and he is relentless on the training pitch in terms of when he trains, he's there properly, and he's very, very demanding. He's probably the only guy I know that's more moany than me on the training pitch, but in a much better way than I was. So and when he talks, they listen.
Just on last night, I can't tell you how much I smiled at the thought of a home draw and how much those great penalties counted in the end, because you've got a home draw in the fourth round of the Cup and a chance to progress against a Championship side. That's all upside, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be a tough game. They're under a new manager now, and they will be really up for it, I'm sure, and desperately trying to bring his vision of the game onto the pitch. Especially by then, they've had a good few weeks of work and a bit more. So, but yeah, we were hoping for a home tie. It's been 2 long journeys in the Cup, so to get a home one was nice, and now we have to make it really count.
Well, yeah, and you were really keen to say how much it matters. You've got a big squad, and if you get a chance to progress again, that's great, because it keeps the squad working and on the pitch.
The more games, the better for our squad right now, because we have a lot of guys that are not even on the bench on a Saturday, which is the hardest part of it right now, and they're good players. They're really top players, and some of them have been brilliant for us and played such a big part in getting us here. So to leave them out of the squad is not easy. So the more opportunity we can get for them to be on the pitch, including friendly games here and games against each other, to keep everyone ready, then the better for us.
Okay, embargo for 10:30, happy.
Judge Jordan, hi Russell. You've spoken about it to death, so it's a very quick one, but Tyler Dimbley was only a few months old when Adam Lallana was born. It's slightly different. Tyler was only a few months old when Adam Lallana made his debut for Southampton, which is a unique situation to be in and play alongside that. So for him, how beneficial was that? And also for you, I know your journey's a little bit different, but when you were a young player, did you have anyone in your dressing room that was, of that sort of seniority that helped you?
Yeah, I had a lot. Obviously, I just touched on Adam and Tyler there, so I think it can only benefit Tyler, but only if Tyler's willing to learn from Adam and willing to listen, be receptive, which he is, fortunately for us. All the young guys are. They're great. So we are fortunate to have Adam, and we will use him in the best way we possibly can, on and off the pitch. And then, when you look back on your own career, there's always people, in moments, people that you become a really important part of your journey, even if at the time you don't quite recognise it as that. But I think when I was a young player at Wickham, guys like Keith Ryan and Tommy Mooney were really seasoned, experienced professionals, and just being around guys like that and seeing them be so demanding of people, but really good with the young guys, really, really good actually, and people I've stayed in touch with. So yeah, without coaches, without naming managers and stuff, players who had a really important impact just for the way they treated you and the way they behaved and trained. And if it wasn't for Steve Guppy, I don't think I'd have ever played right back, because he just wanted to practice still every day at 39 years old or whatever he was at the time. And then after a couple of months we stopped practicing and I started getting the better of him, but it took a long time still, even at his age. So he was a really important part of my learning, and probably without even realising it at the time, or he didn't realise how much he helped me, but he did. And I think as a seasoned pro, experienced pro, I always try to help young players as much as I possibly could. I think it's your when you've lived it and you've been through it, I think you have a duty or a responsibility to try and take care of younger players. And also been the other way, been in dressing rooms where older players don't want to help the young guys so much because they're struggling to come to terms with their careers coming to an end, and that's never a good place to be in, I think. And but with Adam, it's not like that. He just wants to make the most of every bit of his career and help as many people as he possibly can. And I love that about him.
We talk about representations of every walk of life, but just seeing someone who maybe looks like you or sounds like you or did something similar to you 20 years ago, doing what you dream to do, is surely motivation to push you on a bit more.
I hope so. All Tyler needs to do is look at the career Adam's had, the person he is, and I think it's when it's in front of you like that, it's really simple. That I think we all believe that Tyler possesses a level of talent that not many people do, and it'll be up to Tyler where he ends up, and it'll be up to Tyler how much he plays this season. It won't be up to me, it'll be up to him and his attitude and how much he wants to learn and play in the way that we want him to play. So there's still a lot more to come from him. He still has a lot to learn, but he's getting better and better all the time, and I think that's all we're aiming for as a group, is to get better, and for him and individual players to keep getting better as well.
You mentioned data suggests that you should have more points than you do. I saw an expected goals, expected points sort of table that puts you 12th, 5 more points than you actually have.
Nice, wasn't it?
I mean, how much does that, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter right now, but how much is that evidence that you can use, and how many games do you think you've come off this season, certainly the last 2 at least, feeling particularly unlucky?
Yeah, I think it makes me really frustrated, but also then tells us in the same way it did at this time last season that we're really not very far away, and if we keep on doing the right things with the right intention, that eventually them things, they all often end up levelling out and becoming more of a reality. So we have an awareness of what's hurt us for sure. We have awareness of what's really working in the Premier League. We have an awareness of what we need to tweak and evolve a little bit in the Premier League. So we're not sat here just trying to do the same thing but we did for 46. Like we had 45 games of one shape last year and then changed for the playoffs because we felt that was the best way to win. This year we played a few different shapes. We're trying to find the best way to win, and I feel like we're doing that every single game. And we should have more points. We should be higher up in the table, but we're not. So sometimes that is football, that is life, and you either choose to suffer through the pain or you choose to grow through it and you choose to use it as fuel. And I think I always know what my choice is. And I said to the players, we have a choice as a group, and one is to continue the path of trying to be better and keep doing the stuff that got us here, but in a better way, and trust each other and trust the work. And I think we have a brilliant group here that can continue to do that. And I think they know that when we're adapting and tweaking, we're not doing it out of fear. We're doing it out of want to get better. And I think we will get better. And then, like I said, we'll end up with the points that we hopefully feel like we deserve. But it's probably one game this year that I've been so annoyed at myself with. It was just Forest, where we probably didn't deserve anything from the game. But the rest, even Forest, we're competitive. We didn't create enough, but we've been so competitive. And there's been moments of real control and dominance in each of them games that's getting longer and longer, the periods. So we have to continue to work on that.
I imagine leaving Cole Cabees out of the team last week was a difficult one, but is it as simple as a left footer, Charlie Taylor, just offers slightly more balance to the team, or is there something else to it?
Yeah, no, that's it, honestly. Look, so leaving Kyle out after what he's done for us and how good a player he is not easy, but Yuki's been one of our best players this season at right back, and we did just feel that we wanted some balance in the team, and having a natural left-footed player there helps us a lot. And I think Charlie was great. I think he'll get better and better. He played 2 games last week, Everton and then Ipswich. And we also have Ryan Manning, who can't get in the squad at the moment, who'd done a brilliant job for us last season. So it was just about balancing the team. I think when you look at every team, they always have good balance. We don't have many left-footed players on the pitch at the moment. So, in fact, I think Charlie was probably the only one. So we needed that for that game. And against Bournemouth, again, it might change. So Carl's really ready to play. He understands the reason, but really, I know people will try and bring his contract into it and all that stuff. It wasn't a problem as last year showed with Shea and Stewie and all that stuff, so that will never be the problem. It'll be about trying to win a game and putting the best team on the pitch.
It's a good problem to have, but potentially a problem to try and fit all those players in.
The whole squad, or just Kyle?
Kyle.
Oh, all of them, mate. Yeah. We got 6, 7, 8 guys not even in the squad, and some of them internationals. So it's not easy. But we work relentlessly with every single one of them to keep them ready. Someone can come in from not being in the squad to starting, as is proved against Everton. People can come in out of the starting 11 to maybe not be in the squad. It all depends on the game and what we feel we need on the bench and who we feel we need. So, and that'll be the same on Monday. And then we'll assess it from there and make sure we have to keep the rest of the guys engaged and ready and always be honest with them and make them understand why they're not involved and what they need to do to be involved.
Go more if I can. Matty Fernandez did a club interview. He told them that he's been watching Prison Break to try and learn English. I know you were recommending books last season. Have you recommended any series to Matty?
Not to Matty. No, his English is good. So if he's not speaking to you in proper English in interviews, there's a reason, because he speaks fine with us.
Just very finally, Don Ballard, Steve Bruce said that his shoulders popped out and called up him.
Yeah,
do you know
gutted.
about that?
Found out this morning actually. Yeah, from our medical team. So I'm really disappointed for Dom. He's had a good start to life there, and and a managerial change as well. But he's a great kid. I know he'd attack his rehab in the same way he did last year after a big injury. And like I said to you, this can happen. Everyone's journey is so different. Dom was on the ascent here and getting really close, and then he gets an injury and out on loan, and then has to go out on loan again. And just things can happen and change so quickly in football. So he is a brilliant character. We'll touch base with him today. I'll touch base with him this afternoon because we've just finished training, but I know the medical team already spoke to him and spoke to the Blackpool medical team, and if it means he needs to come back here for a bit to get his rehab done or stay there. We'll decide what's best for him and where he's at right now. But I've got no doubt Dom will come back stronger and better than he did previously, as he did with his last big injury.
Yeah, it makes you feel so sorry for him after all the years of work he's put in to get
Yeah,
there.
football's not fair, life's not fair sometimes, but he will, like I said earlier, he'll choose to either suffer and feel sorry for himself, or he'll choose to use it to come back better. Of course, he'll feel the disappointment and the hurt. We all will for him, but I've got no doubt what choice Dom will make, and he'll be more than fine long term. It's just another small setback for him.
How long that rehab might take?
Not a clue, because it depends if he needs an operation, or if they'll heal it naturally, because operation gets you back quicker, but then there's not having an op gets you back quicker, but then there's a risk of redoing it. Yeah. So they'll decide that altogether, and then once they've made the decision, I'll speak to him, like I said today, and then we'll take it from there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
Cheers, gang.